Okay, thank you, Dr. Brewster. Thank you, Dr. Timken, for inviting me. And I'm going to look at this challenge a little bit different because I don't think you can take clinical trials in cervical cancer without understanding the broader clinical trial network, particularly in gynecologic malignancies, and how the NCI has played a critical role in that, where we have been historically, where we are today, and where we should head. You know, the NCI has been a great partner with the Gynecologic Oncology Group. 50 years ago, this year, 1971, the Gynecologic Oncology Group was founded with support from the NCI, had 11 founding institutions and a variety of medical specialties. But there was rapid growth over the next 40 years. And by now, there are over 300 member institutions nationally and internationally working in gynecologic cancer clinical trials. This group has set the worldwide standard for the management of gynecologic malignancies, including ovarian, uterine, and cervical cancer. This graph shows a decade by decade analysis of accrual of women with gynecologic malignancies to NCI-sponsored trials. And you can see in the first decade of the 2000s, this had topped over 40,000 women participating in these important trials to help us set the new standards of care. And the all-important phase 3 trials, these are the practice-defining trials. These are the trials that will determine how people are managed and move that needle for cure. By the first decade of the 2000s, over 15,000 women had participated in phase 3 trials, representing more than 1,500 women a year. This was the high water mark. I tell you, it has been very impactful. The adult cooperative groups have recently released a report showing the impact of NCI-sponsored clinical trials network on the lives of all Americans. In this, it was shown that in over 128 trials, there was an overall survival favoring the experimental arm. And these trials are estimated to have generated gains of 14 million life years to patients by the year 2020. And that's a gift that's going to keep on giving. It's felt that by 2030, this will be up over 23 million. And the cost, only $125 per life year saved. And I'm proud to say that gynecologic malignancies were a major part of this advancement. Indeed, we represented the largest component of the trials that were included in this analysis. These practice-defining trials have changed the way that women with gynecologic malignancies, including cervical cancer, are managed. Well, in 2010, the Institute of Medicine did an analysis of the National Cancer Clinical Trial System, and they felt that it needed to change coming into the 21st century. A lot of that dealing with some of the new precision or personalized medicine approaches that have been commented on. They had a variety of recommendations, some of which were followed, some of which were not. One of those was to consolidate the adult cooperative groups. There were 9 adult cooperative groups, and it was ultimately decided they should consolidate down to 4. Now, one of the challenges, the GOG, or the Gynecologic Oncology Group, was filled with individuals and investigators passionate about gynecologic malignancy, a well-described network, and very effective. Well, we partnered. We partnered with another high-quality group, the Radiation Therapy Oncology Group, and also the NSABP. The NSABP focusing on prevention of breast, prostate, and bowel cancers. The challenge we had was there was a consolidation, but there wasn't an increase in funding. As a matter of fact, there was a diminution in funding for gynecologic malignancies. The results was an unintended consequence. Our high water mark in therapeutic trials for women with gynecologic malignancies, sponsored by the NCI, was in 2011, with over 3,000 women having the opportunity to participate in these incredibly important defining trials. You can see over the next 5 years, there was an apoptosis of trial enrollment, all the way down to only 500 patients in 2016. The Gynecologic Oncology Group Foundation felt that this could not continue. It has a vision to be the premier collaborative network for transformative research in gynecologic malignancies. And what it realized, it had to create new partnerships and new avenues, new collaborations that could revitalize this group of over 300 institutions that are so dedicated to fighting gynecologic malignancies. Towards that end, it created a new concept. This is an open concept design where we took the incredible resources of the NCI that we had gained over the previous 40 years, the sites that we had established, the investigators, the relationships, and we say, let's take that, keep it going, but let's add another level. And that would be partnering directly with industry. And so opened up the GOG partner system. In this situation, GOG partners and the NRG work together and collaborate with other entities, not only nationally, but worldwide. Entities such as the Society of GYN Oncology, American College of OB/GYN, ENGOT, the European Network, the GCIG, ASCO, NCI, and others. This has allowed a revitalization of the clinical trials in gynecologic malignancies. It's done that because what we have recognized is enhanced collaboration, building relationships beyond the NCI, building directly with industry, other organizations worldwide are enabling us to create a strong and stable environment for which we can mentor and engage young investigators and push the science forward. Now, I showed you that previous graph where 2011 was our high water mark, and then we saw a diminution in clinical trials sponsored by the National Cancer Institute in gynecologic malignancies. But if you notice in 2013, there's a new color, and that gold represents the beginning of GOG partners and a direct relationship with pharmaceutical companies. That relationship has continued to grow and expand, and it's becoming a very critical part of the portfolio we have for moving forward in fighting gynecologic malignancies, including cervical cancer. Indeed, if you look at the past few years, anywhere between 40 and 60% of all the patients with gynecologic malignancies that go on clinical trials through the GOG are now in GOG partners. And we see this particularly germane in a cancer like cervical cancer. At the current time, we have, by the end of this year, we'll have one open trial in cervical cancer. It's the radiation trial that Dr. Kunos mentioned earlier. And that's it. That's for locally, regionally advanced. We have no surgical trials, no other radiation trials, no other medical therapy trials. GOG Partners has 4 active accruing trials with 6 in development, which will open within the next year. So we have to rely on these expanded partnerships to keep the vision and the mission alive. NCI will always play an important role, but it will never be the sole source moving forward. So how can we optimize opportunities for the NCI to participate in gynecologic cancer clinical trials? Well, number one, I think the pendulum probably swung a little bit too far. 2011, as I mentioned, was a high water mark. We were hitting all cylinders in our engine to really redefine how women with gynecologic malignancies were cared for. Those numbers going from over 3,000 women participating on clinical trials to 500 are a bit sobering, and they really haven't rebounded to the degree they need to. Number two, we need to figure out how to get the NCI into better partnership relationships with some of these partners that we've developed relationships with, particularly international collaboration. You know, policies and procedures and standard operating procedures sometimes get in the way of some of the things that need to happen in a world as flat as we're living in. As has been mentioned earlier, cervical cancer is a rare tumor, and when you start subdividing it, you can't sit there and start saying we're going to do it all in one country or another. Pharmaceutical companies that have great assets, such as the antibody drug conjugates and other things that have been talked about, they want an international approval, not just one nation. So we really have to look at how do we facilitate that international collaboration. We need to facilitate real-time data sharing. It's all about how rapidly we get an idea about an asset into a trial and into the FDA for approval. That's what's going to drive great care for our patients and new assets. We have to simplify layers of review. I also think while it's very important for the NCI and for all of us to look at really cutting edge and small scale research trials that are looking at novel ways of attacking this cancer, we also need to look at bigger trials that, because of the numbers of patients it would affect, they can be extremely impactful. And particularly critical surgical trials, imaging trials, and radiation therapy questions. These trials are not going to be funded generally by industry. And the NCI, I think, has to relook at its portfolio and put some more effort into that region. And finally, we have shown numerous times that the reimbursement for institutions participating in the NCI cooperative group system is inadequate. In general, these reports have shown it covers about 50% of the true cost of running a trial. So funding in this arena needs to be increased. That, by the way, was part of the Institute of Medicine report in 2010. It needs to be increased to a level that it's not punitive for an institution to participate in these very important trials. Thank you once again, Wendy, for your giving me the opportunity to speak at this important meeting.